What is going on, everyone, and welcome to my favorite subreddit on the entirety of the internet right now. It is r/StoriesAboutKevin. If you haven't heard of this subreddit before, guys, you're gonna love this video. Kevins are pretty much the dumbest people on the face of the earth. Our first story, as you can tell by the title, pretty much epitomizes this. This Kevin ends up eating glass. Like, legitimately eating glass. Let's get into the story. I fired Kevin after one day of amazing stupidity. Probably one of the stupidest people I've ever met. He was a 26-year-old male and turned up an hour and a half late the first day. He was brought in by his mum, which I thought was kinda odd for a grown man. I let that slide, but then things just got worse. It was a small roadside cafe/eatery, so I thought I'd get him started on small duties to ease him into the way of the place. I asked him to put new toilet paper in the toilets. A minute or so later, I hear him yelling, "OP! It won't fill the toilet roll holder!" I'm like, what? That's a pretty simple thing. He calls out again, so I tell him to bring it to me so I can show him. He's carrying a roll of paper towel. It's almost 3 times the length of the TP holder. "Kevin," I say, "that is paper towel." "No, it's not." "Yes, it is. Have you ever seen toilet paper that big in your life?" No." "Right. Furthermore, and probably more perplexing, can you not see that this massive roll couldn't possibly fit on this small bar?" Yeah, I thought that was odd." Oh boy. Well, the day goes on, and after the kitchen is pretty much closed, except for pre-cooked baked goods, I get him to give a general clean, and ask to make sure he wipes down all the benches. I leave him to it, as I assume he's doing fine. Wrong! One of the other staff comes and says we've run out of toilet paper. And I'm like, what? That's not possible. Sure enough though, all the packs are torn open and empty except for the rolls on the holders. At this stage, I realize there can only be one culprit and call Kevin over. "Did you do something with the toilet paper? What the F is with this guy and the toilet paper?" "Yeah, I used it to wipe down the benches in the kitchen." "You used 8 rolls of TP to wipe down the benches in the kitchen. Why are you using toilet paper to wipe down benches?" "I don't like using the dishcloth." "Who taught you to wipe down benches with toilet paper? Have you ever seen anyone wipe down benches with toilet paper?" "The cloth was dirty and I didn't want to clean it out." By this stage, I'm thinking, day's nearly over, just let it go and I'm sure it will work out fine. Yeah, you know what's coming. Kevin strikes again, and this time it's beyond moronic. So, I've got him on serving customers pastries and the like, because all you have to do is take it out of the glass bay, put it on a plate, and give it to them. He doesn't even have to ring it up, just pop on a plate and give. Well, one of the customers orders 3 scones with jam and cream. He's behind the counter, doing his thing, and I have a little peek and see, yes, he's cut them in half and managed to put jam and cream on them. About a minute later, the customer brings the scones back up to the counter. There's something really hard in these scones. I bit down and it was like crunching on a rock or something. Of course, I'm puzzled. "Oh, I'm really sorry about that," when Kevin cuts in. "It's probably just the seeds in the jam." Now, there's something about the way he says this that makes my alarm bells ring. "Show me what you put on these scones," and I start marching toward the prep bench. Sitting on the bench is the bowl of whipped cream, and next to it, in a plastic bag, is a broken glass jar which contains the jam. The mother effer is feeding the customer broken glass. "I didn't think it would be a big deal." Are you freaking insane? I grabbed a plate of mostly uneaten glass-infused scones. How is anyone supposed to eat this? To my utter amazement, he proceeds to eat them in front of me, all the while crunching on glass and flinching every time he does. I'm paralyzed, dumbfounded. When he finishes eating, he says, "Do you think I should go to the hospital?" "You're fired." And you see, guys, that is precisely why I love this subreddit. Stories like that, where Kevins end up eating glass, thinking it's the right thing to do to impress their manager, who is absolutely fuming at them. I mean, you wouldn't find stories like that anywhere else on the internet, would you? I mean, come on. Just madness throughout the whole story. I don't know what he was thinking in part 1 and part 2, you know, with the toilet roll. But then eating glass to ensure his manager that it was okay, it was still tasty. Nah, that's a step too far, even for a Kevin, surely. Now moving on to our next post. I think I married a Kevin. I may have married a Kevin. He initially doesn't strike you as a Kevin because he had a very successful career working for a government alphabet agency. However, some of the things he believes. Once this man gets a notion in his head, you cannot remove it with dynamite. If his mother or his teacher, Sister Mary Godzilla, told him something 50 plus years ago, then that was revealed truth and could not be changed. Sister MG told him men have one less rib than women. It has to be that way because God took Adam's rib to make Eve. I had to show him side-by-side images of male and female skeletons in a medical encyclopedia and make him count the ribs before he believed that Sister may have been mistaken. Sister also told him that plate tectonics was only a theory, and since theory means guess, there wasn't any truth to it. You know how South America and Africa look like they would fit together like puzzle pieces? Well, Sister told him that was just a coincidence. God made the world the way it was, and the bits didn't go floating around like ducks on a pond. What about Pangea? Is that all a lie then? Theory equals guess also shot down the theory of evolution, the theory of relativity, and a bunch of other science things that didn't agree with the Bible. However, he seems to have come up with a whole bunch of stuff all on his own. There can't be a volcano under Yellowstone Park because they wouldn't be dumb enough to put a national park on top of a volcano. Vaginas are just inside-out penises, so a woman who is using a tampon has to remove it to pee. When you burn a candle, only the wick burns. The wax just runs down the side of the candle holder. He had no explanation as to what happens to the wax in a jar candle. Meat is not the muscle tissue of animals, but something else called the flesh. He did not explain where the muscles go if meat is this mysterious flesh. Meat also only comes from mammals. Beef is meat and pork is meat, but chicken and turkey are not meat, nor is fish. Cows just spontaneously start giving milk when they reach adulthood. Having a calf every year to start the process has nothing to do with it. On the other hand, hens must have sex with roosters before they can lay eggs. That the clear button on the oven stops the timer. It does not, it turns off the oven and that is all it does. I've made him start the timer and then punch the clear button. See? The timer is still going. He still tries to use the clear button to turn it off. We've only had this oven for 20 years. The microwave and the toaster oven are basically the same appliance, and since you can put plastic things in the microwave, you can use them in the toaster oven as well. He only did this twice though, since I really yelled at him the second time. He does seem to have grasped no metal in the microwave though, so I guess this is a plus. Sometimes he has to figure things out for himself. My dad would say, you can tell him, but some folks have just got to pee on the electric fence for themselves. Take the top rack of the dishwasher, for instance. The section on the right-hand side is about half an inch wider than all of the other sections. That makes this the ideal section for cups, because they just fit. I told him this. I had him put a cup in the right-hand section and see that it just fits. I then had him put a cup in another section where it did plainly not fit. About a week later, he came to me and said, I've figured out that the right-hand section is wider than the others, so that's where we should put the cups. And this evening's Kevinisms. 1. Chopped is the same as sliced. He was going to a church picnic and had volunteered to bring sliced tomatoes and lettuce and onions for the hamburgers. He asked me to chop all of these things for him. Not slice, chop. I had to explain the difference. 2. That the volume of a medium-sized bowl is exactly the same as that of a smaller bowl. This is a long-standing confusion, actually. I cannot tell you how many times I explained that to save cabinet space, you put small bowls inside medium bowls which go inside large bowls. You do not try to stack a medium-sized bowl on top of a small bowl. This man, who can pack a moving truck tied to the Marilyn Monroe's girdle, simply cannot grasp this simple concept. Or maybe, instead of a concept, it's just a theory. To be fair, I quite like this, Kevin. You know, you meet those people that are so good at some things. For example, I imagine that, you know, his work is to do with packing trucks or as a trucker or whatever. And he's probably amazing at that, as OP has said. But they're just so bad at stuff. You're like, how can you be that good at this and then not understand this other concept, which is obviously like really similar? I guess their just brain just works in a different way to the majority of people. But yeah, this guy, by the way, this Kevin, is not a bad person, is he? He's just like a little bit dumb, let's just say, but dumb only in certain aspects of his life. As I say, he's probably a genius at lots of other things that weren't mentioned in this story. And also for OP to marry him, who sounds like an a nice person, OP, then he's probably a lovely guy as well. So it's not that harmful, is it really? Just a nice guy, a little bit clueless at times though. Anyway guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/Stories About Kevin. If you want more stories about Kevin, not the Kevins in this video, but other Kevins, then you can check out this playlist for all my Kevin videos. If you are new to my channel, please do remember to subscribe up here, as I'm trying to hit 600,000 by the end of the year, and it's going to be very, very close. And also, if you do want some lovely merch, I'm not wearing it at the moment, that's very poor from me, you can check that out down here as well. It's the best way to support my channel, and it's really nice and comfortable and warm for Christmas.